Jog A to Z, supporting the National Festival of Fieldwork from the Geographical Association to join in. Today, we're going to look at human features, and I'm going to link this to communication tools that you'll find on your local streets to work with children with. And we're also going to think about Amazon delivery boxes. And over the next few days, we're going to investigate other sorts of things that you might find on your local streets that children might find interesting that you can decode with them. So, we're going to think about light and power and waste, signs, signage, and meters. We're going to think about journeys that we will take, which might include traffic, roads, barriers, and other guides. And finally, we're going to think about the keys of a map and, of course, what's missed off those, such as bins and benches. So today's resource is all about thinking about your local streets and the perhaps old-fashioned things that we find. Maybe you live on a interwar or pre-war estate like this, and hidden just as a part of the streetscape, you've got those red telephone boxes or those red pillar post boxes made of cast iron. Maybe this is more resonant of the sort of street that you're on. You see perhaps a rusting and a decaying post box, maybe used far less now than it used to. But still, it's the sign of somewhere you can send a letter and magically it will go to somebody else across the country or possibly even across the globe. Often they're paired. You will find telephone boxes and post boxes, and as you can see here, they're often in very publicly accessible and locational places that children need to think about. So look for the royal ciphers on post boxes. Is it George, Victoria, or Elizabeth? And maybe we'll start to get some Charles ones as well. Look for the gold post boxes as well that are resonant of Olympic award winners in your area. Talk about how strong and sturdy they are. Some of them have stood there for 100, 130 or more years. And sometimes you'll find plastic storage boxes as well for extra posts that you might sometimes see. And essentially, they're accessible. They're on the street. They're for everybody to use. Simply buy a postage stamp and you can send something somewhere. Maybe try sending postcards with children. It's really amazing when they start to receive those from places around the world. Sometimes, of course, they're wall mounted, and you'll find different places to um, see those around your locality. And think about where the post office actually is. Of course, sometimes they're in shops, they're buried at the back of a store, they're not necessarily as high profile as they once were on the streetscape. And then, of course, you've got various different types of ones. You've got the large ones, you've got the ones on poles, as you can see here, near a litter bin. And you'll see various ones, as you can see, that are really historic relics, certainly in larger towns and cities of times past. But there's a lot of detail on here. There's a lot of information that children need to decode and understand. So it's worth working with children to try and get to grips with those. And you can see another example there of a Victoria um, post box. Of course, we've transported these around the world. The color red seems to be very resonant of post. This is an example from Malta, in the center of Malta, still in use. And you can see there the sea in the background. And sometimes we find these different bits in the locality. Around the world, you can see examples there from Canada, and you can see different things on the street there that you might want to talk to children about where you can find local information, local guides, local notices. So communication tools, talk to children about how useful these are in the time of the smartphone, of electronic mail, and the ways that we communicate now in a fashion that maybe is different to what our parents perhaps used much more than we did. Talk about the age of the telephone boxes as well. There's some things that you can Google there. The K6 telephone box, do you know which one that one is? The K2, or the one that you'll see on many towns and city streets at the moment, the KX100, which is the one that was put there in the 80s and the 90s, the glass and the steel see-through one. But often these are being taken away, often these are in very poor repair, and often these are being used as mini libraries or defibrillators and various things now, particularly if they're the old red boxes that you're still lucky to have near you. So, of course, the modern way is to get something online, and so you'll find delivery points and lockers near you. So, try and think about where those may be. And the final thing to talk about today is how you could think about the sorts of questions that we could talk through with children about these different communication things that you'll find on your street. So, where is the nearest? Can we plot these on a map? How would we get there from here? Are the post boxes on a busy road or on a quiet street? Why would Victorians, why would people in 100 years ago have placed these here? Why is there a significance of this particular junction, this particular shopping parade? Colours, information, as I've said. Um, where are the delivery lockers? Have they ever seen one of these? Have they ever used one of these? Do they have a particular colour to attract attention? Are they placed in a car park so they're accessible? Because obviously there are some bigger packages that you can collect from these that may be much more heavier. Um, where do we drop and pick off parcels? Is it post offices, or is it to a shop or a newsagent's or to a local grocer's or off license? Just think about that kind of modern way of parcels, which is much different to the ways that maybe some of us grew up with. Think about the patterns. Where are the ones near you? Have you ever mapped them? Have you ever purposefully gone out and thought, right, where are they, and the specific locations that they are? Think about the size of packages as well. How can you send something through the post? Are there any rules and regulations of what you can send? What could you send through the post and what could you not? Maybe worth looking on the Royal Mail site. Clearly, live animals and sharp objects are not really suitable for being sent. And are they accessible to all people? Are there ramps? Are there guardrails? Are there ways for people to get to these if they have a disability? Are they accessible for all? Is there a safe space for them? Are they covered for maybe accessing them in the rain? Is there lighting? Why is this important? And just think about the cluster of other buildings that may be near those. Why were the decisions made to place these? Where would be a bad place for them if we wanted to site one near to us? Um, so finally, just trying to think about the kind of age of some of these and who looks after them and the accessibility of them. The fact that these lockers in particular, they've maybe got CCTV, they may be accessible 24 hours a day. They're constantly being filled and refilled by various people. So lots of things to think about then in terms of communications and times past and times present. So I hope that was useful for you all.